Back to politics now. House Speaker Mike Johnson is set to meet with far-right Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene again today as she dangles a vote to force his ouster over his head. After talking for nearly 2 hours last night, reportedly at Greene's request, the pair say they'll reconvene today. Last Wednesday, the Congresswoman vowed to file a motion to vacate against Johnson this week over his support of sending military aid to Ukraine. That's the same mechanism that Republicans used to remove former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his position in October. But unlike last time, House Democratic leaders have said they would provide Johnson the votes to save his speakership should he need them. Following their meeting yesterday, Greene ignored reporters' questions about whether she was backing down from her threat, while Johnson offered a dose of reality about the slim majority House Republicans are working with.
Had a lengthy, constructive meeting. I understand the frustration. I share it. I would really like to advance much more of our conservative policy on a daily basis here, but the reality is we are working with the smallest majority in U.S. history with a one-vote margin. It makes it very difficult for us to, using my football metaphor, as I often do, throw touchdown passes on every single play.
We could see Michael Schnell, congressional reporter for The Hill, in that scrum, and now she joins us here on set in Washington. So, Michael, let's just take us inside inside this meeting. We know that another one will continue today. What's the sense here? Is Greene still serious about pushing Johnson out? Because there's some reporting as to what her list of demands are, so she wouldn't go through with the motion to vacate. And they include things like defunding the Jack Smith probe and not passing any more aid to Ukraine. But let's have a reality check. There isn't going to be any more aid to Ukraine this year. That huge package just got passed. The administration recognizes no more is coming. And then who knows who's even speaker next year.
Right. Well, look, last week on Wednesday, Congresswoman Greene said she was absolutely going to force a vote on Johnson's ouster. This week, there was no doubt about that. She underscored that she wanted to put Republicans on the record about whether or not they support Johnson. Now, yesterday, Greene requests a meeting with the speaker, huddles with him for 2 hours, and then they're going to convene another meeting today, which leads you to believe that she's looking for some sort of off-ramp here to not have to go through with this motion to vacate. And there are for a few reasons why that would be. A, it's opposed by a vast majority of the House GOP conference, including some of her conservative colleagues. B, Democratic leadership is going to swoop in and protect Johnson. So this would blow up in her face on the House floor. And three, one of the biggest things is that former President Trump is against this. He has said on a number of occasions that he stands with Speaker Johnson. So this is sort of a recipe for failure for Congresswoman Greene, and it appears now she is looking for some sort of excuse to sort of back off of this threat. But you mentioned some of those demands that have been reported that she floated in that meeting. Those are sort of moot because the House is not going to have to pass more Ukraine aid this Congress. The appropriation season is over, so there's no opportunity to defund Jack Smith as she says she wants to. So she's sort of in a pickle right now, go through with this and go against many of her conservative colleagues or try to back off in a way that doesn't exactly make sense.
Right. And you make a good point about Trump, who gave a pretty public display of support of Johnson just in the last couple of days. So let's talk about the futures of these two individuals. You know as well as I do, there's sort of an open running joke around Capitol Hill that Marjorie Taylor Greene is sort of speaker already because she wields so much clout. But we're seeing her run up against the limit of that influence now. How does she maintain this sort of sway, and how does Johnson continue to lead? He knows his job position is dangling by a thread. He knows that Democrats would have to potentially bail him out. I mean, his days may be numbered in the job. There's certainly an expectation that Republicans could lose the House. How do they each go forward?
Start with Johnson first. He sort of can breathe a sigh of relief right now because the House doesn't have to work on any other big must-pass pieces of legislation for the rest of this Congress, with the exception of the FAA reauthorization bill, which is currently making its way through the Senate. It shouldn't be too controversial in the House. So he doesn't have any more of these controversial pieces of legislation he needs to muscle through the House, which means that he may not see another threat from conservatives because they typically tie their threats to must-pass measures. Now, when you talk about Greene, on the other hand, she can continue to wield her power by just continuing to dangle this motion to vacate over Johnson's head. So if she comes out of today's meeting and says she doesn't plan to force a vote on his ouster this week, but may do it in the coming weeks, that sort of keeps Johnson on edge, keeps him on his toes. He has to keep watching around to see how he handles various legislative issues and handles the House floor in the months to come in the lead up to the election. But that's sort of how she can maintain her influence, is by continuing this threat, which may be one reason why why, Jonathan. She filed this over a month ago, and she still hasn't forced a vote on it. She's just dangling it over his head still.
Yeah, we will see what comes of the meeting today. Congressional reporter for The Hill, Michael Schnell, thank you as always.